Hey guys, this is my 75 planted and just giving you guys sort of a quick update on this tank and how it's going. This tank is about a year old with dirt substrate, potting soil, organic. It's got S3 opens lighting. I'm not S3 opens. It's got AI Prime lighting on top, as you can see. It's also I've got swords. I've got S3 opens on the bottom right here. And, the S3 Opens is not as lush as it was earlier in the year, but it is, it still does pretty good. I also have to apologize for the way that I am recording this. For some reason, when I go to landscape mode, it goes sideways. So I'm trying to figure out, I've tried to fix it. I've got some type of bug on my phone, so I'm having to do this sort of in a weird format, and I'm not liking that at all. But as we get closer into the tank, I'll let you see some of the plants sort of at a slow. And you can see I've got some damage on some of these plants right here. I really need to sort of go through and do some trimming on some of these. But you can see this tank is kind of cool. And if you look right here, I've got you can see it right there. I've got my reactor inside the actual tank. I was worried that it would start leaking on my floor, so I just stuck the whole thing in the tank. I threw some sponges in there to give it some extra filtration, and that seems to be working, and that's where my CO2 goes in. I don't put CO2 in here as a ways for it. I mean, they're for the plants too, I guess, but I do it a lot to sort of maintain a sort of constant pH in the tank. So, I fish like consistency. So that's why I do the pH. I sort of put it in just for the pH. And my pH runs about 7.0. Here is my CO2 going in right here. And if you see it, it's not a very, fast clip. It's pretty slow for 75. This is a Cascade 1000. You can see that it's pretty quiet. I'm also running on the back. I'm running a Fluval 70 on the back. So that's my filtration. And, both of these filters, I think the Fluval 70 is rated for 70 gallon. This is a 75, and the Cascade 1000 is rated for 75. So the filtration is more than enough for this tank, and I guess there's no such thing as too much. But also the way that I've got this running with the, all of that that reactor going down is nothing but sponges in there. So it's getting plenty of, I've got plenty of filtration going on. And also on all of my intakes, I have sponges. So, I've got a lot of places for beneficial bacteria. And also the bottom of the tank is, there's bacteria down there too. That's a whole carpet of S3 opens down here. And you can see. And you can see those angelfish are really aggressive. And let me show you why they're aggressive. If you look right at the top of this picture right here, look at that. Isn't that kind of cool? You can see the angelfish sort of, he doesn't like me sitting there. Look at that. He does not like me right here next to these babies. And these angelfish, guys, they breed so often. Every week I've got a new pair laying eggs. So anyway, if you have any advice on this tank, and if you have any suggestions, just let me know. Leave a comment. I'm thinking about tearing this thing down maybe in another month or so. But I've also thought about maybe just keep on documenting this tank over the year. And if I started this tank last August. This tank was awesome. Probably around I want to say November, December, and January. This tank looked awesome. I mean, the plants all looked awesome. No algae. This S reopens was just absolutely gorgeous down here at the bottom. If you see right here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. You see that right there? There was none of that. Everything was just lush and everything was just beautiful. These plants right here, we'll zoom in right here. These plants right here were just dark red. These right here were all over the place. I mean, I couldn't keep this plant right here from just taking over my whole tank. I had to constantly keep cutting it back. Guys, that's gone. I don't have that type of growth anymore. A lot of the soil is depleted. And I have tried to put some root tabs in, but they're not the same as what this thing was back in 6 months ago. It's just not the same. But if for a lot of you looking at this tank, you'll probably go, hey, that tank still looks awesome. And it does when you step back and look at it. But for somebody that's had this tank for a year and has been in the tank, guys, I see all its imperfections. I see plants not as good as they used to be, or they don't look as good. And I will tell you, after about 9 months in a dirted tank, you will start to see things like this, where the soil is just not what it used to be. And you have to start dosing. You have to start figuring out what you're going to do, or just tear it down and redo it. Half the fun in this hobby is redoing your tank. And if I were to tear this down and redo it, it would take probably 2 months before all these plants are just going all over the place again. And I would have some little, I'd have some little bit of rot, here and there, but other than that, or some melting, but other than that, they should sort of return to normal. These S reopens have tried, after I started putting some flourish, they've come back a little bit, but they actually started looking, and you can see right here, they started looking a little rough. And I know some of you are saying, well, that doesn't look bad at all. Well, to me it does, when it was so much better earlier. Also, these swords, and you can't see right now, but this sword right here was growing out of the tank 6 months ago. This sword right here growing out of the tank. There's 1, 2, 3 swords across the back. They were all out of the tank. Last year, you would not be able to see anything on the back wall. The back wall is completely covered. Now you can see. If I do a cutback today, a lot of these plants they're going to be slow to recover. And, I've lost I've lost all my really pretty red plants. They're gone. I don't know if I wasn't having enough light or whatever. There's one in the back, and I'll show you. This one right here, that is a beautiful red plant that is just basically almost dead. See if I got another one. Here's another one right here. You can see that it's lost all of its leaves, and it's got just a little bit left, and I'm probably won't have any of those left here shortly. So I'm going to try some root tabs. If you guys have got a good suggestion for root tabs other than, I really don't want to use Osmolot with, the gel capsules. I've had a bad experience with those, but, if you can help me out with some of this, see what you guys think, and if you can, give me some suggestions, I would, I'd appreciate it. Fish are fun to watch, guys. It's just a great hobby. Let me know if you guys have any comments. Thanks. Bye.